Hello, welcome to my channel, Lady D. This will be my astrology reading on King Henry VIII. So I thought we would look back at his astrology chart, also go back in time to different dates when things happened in his life so we can see the transits and how that affected his life. And we can also see from the chart what he was like, and from what we know from history as well. So what it can explain. So I will share my screen with you. I have his chart already available. And we'll start with the reading. So King Henry VIII, from my records, from looked up in the internet, he was born on a Tuesday, 28th of June, 1491. So at 8:45 a.m. So he was also born in Greenwich in England. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So first of all, we'll work on his natal chart and then we'll go at the transits. I've got the date as being the 2nd of April, 1502. This is when his brother passed away. So we'll look at the transits then, and then we'll go further in time throughout his reign to see what things were happening, what was in his chart. But we'll start off looking at the natal chart to see what was going on. So for him, he is an ascending Virgo. So the way that he would come across would be very much a nitpicky perfectionist person. Perhaps he came across as someone who overthink things, very much attention to detail. Um, he would probably be very observant as well. He's a Cancerian, so he is someone that probably holds in his emotions or could be quite emotionless a little bit because they hold in the emotions, the Cancerians. A big heart. They are family people, Cancerians. He would also be a natural healer aspect with him too. And he would probably act the way that sometimes he would act the way that where he thought that people want him to act as well, being Cancerian. Now, his moon is in Aries, so he also can be argumentative. He can be very strong in his opinions, and I think that's one aspect where we see his temper that comes out that he's known for, but also a sense of arrogance. There's also other aspects that I can see here, which also leads to that too. So he'd be a little bit argumentative, thinking that he's always correct. Wouldn't be afraid to, go into battle, as we know also from the history books as well. We also have his Mercury in Leo, so he thinks very much about himself. We've got that ego coming out here. Even the way that he thinks, the way that he would speak, it'd be all about him. But also he was quite generous, and being a Cancerian and also having that Leo in Mercury can actually make him quite generous as well, because Cancerians can also be quite generous people. We've got his Venus in Gemini. So he likes women that are very much outgoing, social butterflies, that love to learn, and that is also like a natural networker as well. So that's why I feel like Anne Boleyn was very good with him, because she was also someone who was very charismatic. She was also very a good networker, diplomatic. She had a lot of like connections in France that helped him. So, and very interesting person, like had a voice as well. So he actually liked that in a partner, or definitely in his younger years anyway. Mars in Virgo. So he's very particular with details. So if he made a mistake, or he found like maybe if he tried to wrote in his notes something down and he made a mistake, that would make him a little bit angry, a bit frustrated. If he had set up something very nicely, very particular, and this is also why he might have got very angry when it came to Anne of Cleves, when she had come in and to the ball and she couldn't speak English, and then he approached her, and he was probably very, because he's ascending to Virgo, very attention to detail in the way he was dressed and trying to trick her, and then she sort of turned him away, not knowing who he was. That's also why a trigger for him, why he would have gotten angry, because he paid so much attention, so much detail into how he looked, and she went to all that trouble, and then she didn't even recognize him. But obviously he'd gone to a great deal to look the way. Also, I don't think she even knew what he looked like as well. But that's what would trigger him. Anything that sort of goes against Virgo, so anything that's very like not perfection, the details aren't there, it sort of triggers him a bit. So we've got Jupiter and Gemini. So he's very good at making networking himself with that Jupiter and Gemini, and also learning. He's probably a smart, quite a smart person. He may not have liked school, but he would have been quite intelligent with that Jupiter that's in Gemini as well. But Saturn in Aquarius, so he does have problems with people, problems with sort of different aspects of people, 'cause also problems, probably he had problems in showing that he even like sometimes cared. Problems with like humanitarian aspects with he would have problems with as well, having Saturn in Aquarius. He's also, we can see he had a lot of tries to Venus, so that's also helps him with relationships, with love and money. The Mars square Mars with Jupiter, not good with his anger, but then he has this unexpected ego, this confidence about him that comes out too. So when we look at the chart in the first house, he does have Mars in the first house. That would make him a bit feisty. That could also, again, people with Mars in the first house can have a little bit of a temper. His birth, he may have had a sudden appearance coming into the world with that as well. But yeah, I find Mars in the first house, people can be a little bit feisty. They can have a bit of a temper with that there, which also contributes to him knowing as someone who has a temper. In the third house, the house of siblings, he's born with Pluto in the third house. It is in retrograde. So that can be a sort of a Pluto in the third house can be that they might not get along with a sibling, or there could be like a distance between you, or something that's going to indicate like a transformation where like an ending but a new beginning. So we do know, and it also it can be result with Pluto can be resulting in death. And as we know, his brother did pass, but also his sisters, one, uh, one went to Scotland, and had some issues there, and then the other one married the the king in France, I believe, but that didn't work out. And then also there was a bit of problems in their relationship when she married his best friend. So there was a certain hiccups there as well. But Pluto in the third can be that they might not get along, or there's distance between them, which there's distance between all his siblings, or some sort of like death and transformation. So ending but new beginning as well with them. Also here we've got in the fourth house, we've got the true the node here, his life lesson. It is in Sag, it's in the fourth house. His life lesson is to do with his family and the home. It's also to do with traveling. It's also to do with people. His life lesson, I feel like, would also be about he was also, I feel like, a great storyteller as well, and that could also be part of his life lesson too. He's also got Neptune in this fourth house. So Neptune in the fourth house can be a dissolving aspect, of seen with my other chart readings that I have done on celebrities. So it can mean that, or it does mean that it's this dissolving aspect with them throughout their lives when it comes to the family and the home, which that has carried out in his life when he lost his parents when he was reasonably young. Marriages aren't working out. There's that, and even with him not being able to have a son, there's this dissolving aspect that's creating with him for the family in the home there. On the fifth house, which is relationships and children, we've got Uranus, and we also have Saturn, and Saturn is in retrograde. He would hold his problems in. So for him with relationships, they aren't perfect, but he holds in the problems. He's also born with Uranus. That's unexpected, unusual things happening in the fifth house. As I said, the fifth house is the marriage house, sorry, relationships and children. So it's unexpected things in that area. And as we know, he had a lot of unexpected events happening with partners, with relationships, and also with children too. When we go up to the eighth house, we do have the moon here. So he gets a bit emotional here when it comes to money. Also with him, he sees his mum as someone who's very independent, very strong-willed, a bit argumentative, but also sees her as a money aspect, whether or not she made the decisions when it came to money, or that she had all the money. There's something about money in the way that he sees or the way that he saw his mother. His mother was also the daughter of King Edward IV. he actually had a stronger claim on his mother's side to the throne than his father's side. His father's side is actually quite weak in terms of claim to the throne. Um, but there would have been all the money and that everything, even though his father won the battle with King Richard, the money and everything actually came really from the mother because it was her family that was there ruling England before the Tudors. So on the ninth house here, we've got Chiron. This is his emotional pain. So his emotional pain, actually, interesting enough, is also about money because it's in Taurus. It is also to do with learning. It's also to do with travel. So maybe when he planned the trips, they might have gone out, may not have been gone out as expected things to happen, or they might not have gone to according to plan when he traveled. He may not have liked school, but as I said before, probably was quite smart. Being in Taurus, probably had a problem with overindulgence as well, overindulging in things. And I feel like we found that out later in life when he became quite a large man. In his 10th house, his career, we've got Venus and we've got Jupiter. So even though he wasn't expected to become king, he did have an older brother. But his chart says that with his career, it was going to be abundance. There was going to be money. He was going to enjoy what he did. It would also, his MC is also in Taurus. So it is about, again, money over indulgent, being in that role of creating stability as well. So the chart indicates that he was always destined to sort of do good things in his career, um, and really not fail. So even though we know that he wasn't destined beginning to become king, the chart kind of says otherwise as a bit here. On the in 11th house, the house of friends, we've got the sun and we've got Mercury. He feels most comfortable communicating to his friends. He's also all about his friends more than other aspects in his chart. So that's probably why he likes to go out hunting, jousting, doing things with friends. His dad would be like a friend to him, and he'd see his father as a Cancerian. So he sees his dad as someone who's like a homebody, homemaker, holds their emotions in, very like loves their like a family person who has a big heart. That's how he would see his father. So that's his natal planets. Now we will go into the different transits that are happening throughout his life. So I don't want to go in too much deeper in the chart because it will be here forever. So we'll just go now with the transits. So we're going to start off with when his brother passed. So his brother passed on the 2nd of April, 1502. So we can see in the transits at this time, he did have a few things going on. As I said, he's born with Pluto in the third, so that can indicate Pluto can be death, can be. It also can be an ending and transformation of something to beginning, ending and beginning. But at the transit, he also had there was a conjunction of Chiron and Mars at that time. So that can be bringing up a lot of emotional turmoil for him during this time. He also had a Neptune over Uranus, which is unexpected, like in a relationship house. It's also like an unexpected dissolve here. So that also can indicate that yes, there something is happening during this time with him. He's also got the plus with the natal Neptune in the fourth house. Um, During that time, he was actually he might have been traveling or studying. He had Jupiter in the ninth, so he would have been studying. And also, then following when Jupiter was going into Gemini here, then that would have indicated that he was actually having luck in the career there. So, which could be where they've pointed him as next in line. And also, it would have been something that happened positive for him when we had Jupiter over Venus. And that may have even been, I haven't gone through to see what that was and looked it up, but that may have also been when he perhaps started to court Catherine of Aragon, perhaps as well, when that was there. Because Jupiter over Venus can be a love or money. So that's what was going on when his brother passed. I do have a number of dates here to look at. So his dad passed in 1509, and that was also when he was crowned king as well. So he was crowned king in June. So we'll look at that year. So we'll go before June. So let's just have a look here. He also had Saturn in that 10th house as well during that time. So he had problems in his career. So he meant up whatever they had told him what he was going to be doing, he probably didn't like. There was probably issues happening around that time for him as well. So okay, we'll just leave that. We'll go to let's just go around March and we'll change to 1509. Well, actually, we'll do June. Why not? Go up to June when he got married to Catherine and he got crowned. And also what was going on in his chart at that time. So, what have we got going on? Okay. So he had Jupiter in the fourth. That's luck over the Hummer family. He's also got Pluto, and I feel like if I went back, Pluto was also would have been in this fourth house, and it was over. And in my head, in my back, I forgot to mention to you. So when Pluto, when his brother passed, his head Pluto was also right over his life lesson. So there was a change in like a destiny here point where there was a big change in his life path, his life lesson. So, um, which is also can indicate the passing of the brother if you think about it, because it's like a change of his destiny here. So it's interesting. But in 2015, so 1509, it is now going through this fourth house. So again, it's this change of family here. And as I said, Pluto can be it's like death and transformation. So it's about ending and then rebirthing something else. So his father had passed away that year. But also here you've got the Neptune over Saturn, which actually can be a dissolving problems. Too. We've also got Jupiter in the fourth house. So even though his father passed away that year, there's luck here. He probably would be moving houses around too. With Pluto in the fourth, it can be a lot of house moves. So he probably was moving around at different houses, as well as that Jupiter. So Jupiter in the fourth can be luck. So it's redecorating something positive for the home that's coming in as well. He's also got Uranus over the moon here, which can bring about something unexpected happening in the home and unexpected emotions coming up. So this is also can be um just transit can also could have been also the reason that his father passed. And then him becoming marrying Catherine and also becoming king. So it could have been a big change around because that was a big year for him. A lot of things kind of happened in the same year. He had his father passed, he was crowned king, and then also he married Catherine. So definitely unexpected things happening there. A lot of changes in the Hummin family and unexpected in the home as well. Because I don't think he was actually meant to marry Catherine. I think they wanted him to marry someone else. By that's but quote me if I might be wrong with that information. He's also got Saturn in the first, so he's actually probably more active and went on a health kick at that time. He has Chiron going for the second house at that time, so probably there's probably some issues going along with his work or the way he's earning money. Something at the time probably wouldn't going his way, or he wouldn't be liking it, and probably want to change some things up. So let's go now to when he he went let's go and see for March 22 here. So he actually met, just see. Okay. So he actually met Anne Boleyn in 1522. So we will go on to that as well. Um, so let's have a look here. So we go into March. I don't have the exact date when he met her, but we'll just do March and we'll do 1522. This is when he met Anne Boleyn. So he actually had Jupiter, interesting. So he had Jupiter in the fifth house and it was over Uranus. So it was unexpected luck, but Jupiter in the fifth house can be romance. It's meeting someone new. And this is something I used to always tell clients. And it wasn't until I had a client that they were leaving their partner and they met someone new. And that was sort of reason why they were leaving their partner. So when we have Jupiter in the fifth house, it's love, it's romance, and yes, you can get along with your partner more if it's going a bit rocky or not, sort of getting along. But it can also bring in new people. So for Henry, it actually brought in a new person for him. He met her in March of 1522. He married her in 1533, but they actually met in 1522. So that Jupiter over the Uranus there is that unexpected luck. Also Uranus in the fifth house is brought in Anne Boleyn as well. So interesting. He would have had some health issues going on. And I know he had I'll go over when he had his first accident that was in 1524 when he had his first accident, and he had the big one in 1536. But we'll go to 1524. I can already see there's planets here in the sixth house that can indicate health issues here. So let's just go forward. Interesting as well, Pluto has now at this time moved from the fourth house into the fifth, which can also indicate there be endings in relationships as well. So it was destined for him to sort of leave Catherine Aragon and also with the Uranus, but we're coming into transits are going to start to change things around with the relationships here for him. So let's go to where he had that first accident, which was in 1524, and we can just also see. Let me see if anything else I can see that time. No. So we go into the 24th. Um, sorry, it's the 10th of March, 1924. So this was his first just big accident he had. He actually had Chiron going through the sixth house there, so that can indicate health issues. There would have been things happening before this because he had Neptune going through this house, and also Saturn. So there would have been other health issues that would have come up for him. And when he had Neptune going through this house, it would have been that they couldn't really find out what was actually wrong with him. He would have had some issues and they just couldn't find out what was going on. So that was going on there. See if anything else I can see. Oh, he's also got in 1524. So around that time, he also had something unexpected when it came to love or money. So I'm not sure what that may have been because I've just put in what I've got here as sort of important dates here to look at. But if you do know, if you are someone of a, you know your history and you know all the dates, if you want to look it up, there would have been something that happened unexpected to do with love or money around the 1524. Could have been 25 or even 23. But something unexpected did happen. It may have been when he started even courting Anne Boleyn as well, because he met her, then I think he started courting her after that too. So let's now go to when he married Anne Boleyn. So that was in 1533 when he married her. So let me just have a look. See. Okay. So he actually married her on the 25th of January. So that was 33. So when he married Anne Boleyn, Let me see if we can see anything that's going on here. Well, Jupiter is in that fourth house again, so it's luck over the home and family. So he would have, and we know that when he was marrying her, there was changes made to the different houses, to different places around. He put up a lot of things that represented Anne. So there was that with the fourth. And this was also luck when he could also finally also divorce Catherine of Aragon. Interesting enough, too, when he got divorced from Catherine of Aragon, we've got that Neptune going through that seventh house, which is dissolving relationships. So it was destined to dissolve that marriage. He was destined to get his way with that. He has Pluto going through that fifth house, so that rebirthing energy there in that fifth house there. Um, He's got Uranus getting close to his sun there. That would have been there in the next couple of years. And we're going to go to 1536 when Catherine of Aragon passed. So we'll just look at when she passed. See if I can see anything else in the chart. I can't see anything else in the chart, but let's just go to when she passed in 1536. So she died on the 7th of January, 1936. A lot of dates happening in January. Interesting. Okay, so when she passed, 17th there, Jupiter was in the seventh house, so he actually probably felt better. But he also, Jupiter in the seventh house is like in the marriage. He was also in that same year. Um, he'd already started like there was someone else said he was going to be courting, and I think he'd already started the relationship or was going to in that year because also Anne Boleyn passed away as well in that year, and he already had someone to replace her. He already started seeing Seymour. So Jupiter that would have brought her in when Jupiter was in the seventh house. He does have Pluto over Saturn, which again, Pluto, as I said, um, could be problems. I think this here was the problems he had in trying to get Anne Boleyn um killed and the turmoil that would have given him as well. But see when I think there was money issues coming up here as well. He was losing money during that time when this is happening. Also, too, a little bit before, so more in 1535, and everything around here, there's pain in the home. So there's something going on in the home that he's not happy. And we know that he wasn't happy because he wasn't getting a son. So tensions here would have been going very high with him. So that, so if we go when Anne passed and see what was in the chart then, and as I said, I already know that he was already courting Jane Seymour. So that was with the Jupiter in the seventh, which would have brought her in um, as well. Because not long after Catherine passed, I think Anne Boleyn had her miscarriage. Actually, his second jousting accident was actually the 24th that month. So let's go 24th and see what was going on, which was only by the end of that month. So by the 24th of January 1536. So let me see. It's got to be the Pluto over Saturn. Ah, he had Mars over his sun. So uh, from memory, I think he was told not to even do the jousting. And then he was like, no, no, I'm going to do it because he wanted to impress people. He wanted to show people that he was the king. It got the ego here. So with the Mars over the sun, it would have given me that extra boost, that extra confident. But I it didn't really go well. He did have the moon as a small transit and the sun in the sixth. I think it was also part of the Chiron coming up over in the moon here. So issues in the home. Also, his emotions probably didn't want to feel like he wanted to let down people. Emotionally, maybe unstable as well. Him going in this jousting aspect. He had unexpected things happening with friends as well during this time. Oh, and he had Saturn in the 12th house. So 12th house can also be a health house, and it's like hospitals, it's institutions, it's secrets. So there's problems in that area. So that can also indicate health issues having Saturn in the 12th. So that can also, so there's a number of things here going on in the chart that can indicate. And I feel like there's a mixture of the Chiron over the moon, which is not wanting to bruise his ego, bruise his, he's emotionally feeling a little bit unstable here. Having that Mars over the sun, giving him that confidence, that ego boost that yes, he can do this jousting, he's going to be fine. But the Saturn is saying no. And then he had that big accident because Saturn will pull the rug from underneath you. I'm not a fan of Saturn. A lot of astrologers will tell you Saturn's the teacher. They teach, I don't know what it teaches you. It just brings about problems. That's what I feel. But that's just how I look at it. All right, so that's his accident there. And then later that year, we had Anne Boleyn pass. So we'll go look and see what was happening there with him, with that aspect. I mean, this is still that Pluto going through that fifth house. So it's just with relationships, yeah, it's and also too the unexpected, unusual things for him happening with relationships as well. That's why he had so many uh women. This was a big year for him, the 1536. Okay, so 1536, that Pluto's right over that Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune near that moon here. So he's probably feeling quite positive about this. It's a dissolve in the home as well. Well, he's centered to the past. So, which is interesting. Which is in Neptune over and he had there's a bit of conjunction going on here as well. That Neptune's not quite over the moon, so I'm interested to see. I don't have this on my dates, but I'm interested to see when. Oh, we'll look at the year of when his son Edward was born. If that's a Neptune over the moon, we'll just look at the year, then the actual date. Just hang on. I see something else. He had Sun over Venus, which is interesting. Okay. Still money problems going on then at that time as well for him. Okay. Just look at the year 37. Yeah. So in the year 1537, that Neptune's right over that moon that's dissolving a home. And that would be when Jane Seymour, she actually passed I think it was a few days after she gave birth to Edward. So that was that with that transit. He would have traveled again, studied travel at that time too with Jupiter in the ninth house. Um, and then we've got Uranus in the 11th, so unexpected things happening with friends. And that's Saturn in the 12th. Okay. We'll also go to when in the year 1534 when he created the Church of England. We'll just look at the year. So 34. Just wanted to see. I mean, technically, there would have been a loss of money with this. He probably spent a lot of money doing this big changeover, as well as some Uranus over the sun. So that was the unexpected thing happening in his life. So creating the Church of England, he making himself be the head of the church instead of the Pope. This would have been something unexpected that happening over his life. So probably the way it happened and probably just all just kind of just happened. So the Uranus over the sun, something unexpected. I dare say would have been that too. So when we're looking at the astrology, we read the energies, but sometimes we can explain what the energies mean. So for my clients, I explain what the energies mean, but you know yourself when it does happen, and when we look back, we can see, oh, this would have been that. Also, too, at that time, he had Jupiter in the fifth house, so it was luck with relationships as well. And also, Jupiter would have hit Pluto that year, even before that. So that would have been luck with a big transformation. So something positive coming, like an ending or rebirthing, again, could also be resulting to the bringing in the church. And as well as that, it's kind of like they're a little bit opposite. It's an opposition here too. So which also can create unexpected luck a little bit here as well. So I dare say he's wanting to do this and then he probably just done it all, just everything just came into place and it was time to this big change of religion reform coming in here. And it would have been good, like for him with relationships and connections. It was quite positive during this time as well, even though we got Pluto there in that fifth house. Now we'll look at when he passed. So he passed on in 1547. So let's have a look and see if we can see it. Just anything there. 28th of the 1st, 1947. So when he passed, he actually had Uranus in the first, so that's something unexpected happening to him. And even with his health issues and stuff, he did have probably a bit unexpected because after that jousting, that last injury, I know he had like injury on his leg that didn't heal up. Um, Jupiter in the sixth, that actually can be help with your health, but he also had Pluto going through the sixth house. So again, Pluto can indicate of an ending here. I feel like he was probably suffering, so it probably was a sort of end to his suffering, I dare say, with the injuries that he would have had. He also had problems in the home, and also Saturn had gone over that Neptune. So during that time, there would have been issues in his family and the home as well that he would have been having. So I feel like, and also too, we've got Mars over Chiron. So probably very irritable, a bit of an angry during this time. Um, and then he also had Chiron going for the 10th house. So he probably wasn't, his rulership probably wasn't going as well at that time either. People were probably, I think people by the end of his life, were very scared of him due to his temper um, that he had as well. So I think it was more about him being put to rest and probably being putting out of sort of suffering here when we look at that date in his chart. So let me just stop sharing. So that was the life of King Henry VIII. If you'd like me to do a celebrity that we can look back at their life, I was thinking of doing Elvis over Marilyn Monroe. We can look back and see how the transits affected their life and what made things happen, as well as look at the natal. And that's why I always feel like it's very important to look at the whole chart, not just the natal planets, but looking at the transits so we can see what is happening at that time for that person. And even when I do my personal readings as well. So if you want to put in the comment section of anyone else that you want me to look at to do a reading on, I can do that for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video of looking back at King Henry VIII's life. I know there's could have been a lot more that I looked at to do with the birth of his children, but there was already so much that happened in his life. So I tried to pick out the most important things that we know from history to see what was going on, which we could see already in the chart. So thank you for your likes, shares, and your comments, and I will see you for my next video. So bye for now.